Hi, it's Benton Cotter with Mind, and today we're going to talk about how to, actually I forgot what we were talking about. Okay. What vacancies in rental are. Okay. Hi, it's Benton Cotter with Mind, and today we're going to talk about how to avoid vacancies in your rental investment. This is key to your ROI, and so definitely want to shorten that time. And I think we want to start with a couple things here, but first let's talk about actually how to keep your resident that you have right now. You already acquired them, your cost is already there. So how can we keep our current residents to stay longer, which would actually definitely make sure that there's shorter turnover. And so how do we keep our residents in there longer? Let's make it a better experience. We've talked about this before, just make a good experience for them. But one thing we definitely want to hamper on is making sure that you're very responsive to them. Whatever their needs are, make sure you kind of keep that responsiveness going and be proactive with them. And so making it a good experience for them. One thing that we started from is always make it from the very beginning. If you already have a tenant, you can still do this, but from the very beginning, maybe just give them a welcome gift. $25 to the local coffee shop next door or whatever it is. You can do it now. Just something a little small, a little gift to get them. We call it a welcome gift. Something to help to keep the expectations going. Just a little simple thing like that. The other big thing is be responsive on the maintenance requests. I remember I just rented in between homes, and I loved my landlord, super nice guy, super great dude. Rent was cheap, but he was impossible to get a hold of to get maintenance requests. And he did it himself, which was even harder. So it'd take 2 days to get a hold of him, and then take another week before he got out of there because he had a day job. I love the dude, super nice guy, super sweet couple. So we loved that experience, but I hated getting maintenance done through him. So to be honest, I just did most of the stuff myself, but yet I'm not going to stay there longer. I got out and left as soon as my term was up. And so that's the key thing, is making sure you're responsive to your tenant on the maintenance requests. Either they're not going to, if you're not responsive, they're just not going to tell you about maintenance requests. And so when you move out, you have a longer turn time. Or they're going to have a bad experience and pretty much kind of, dislike you behind the scenes, in which turns they're not going to want to stay there longer. And again, residents want to stay. They do want to stay. It's how you treat them as defects how long they're going to stay. And so key with that, keep them happy, be responsible on maintenance. The other thing during vacancy is that you're going to have vacancies. Tenants are going to move out eventually. Maybe it's 10 years from now, hopefully you have a 10-year tenant, but they're going to eventually move out. So how can you shorten that time between when they move out and when you acquire a new tenant? There's some key things you can do. One, you can pre-market it basically, say why the tenant's still there. You can definitely do that. There's some complications with that. We recommend don't showing the property before then. So pretty much you're gathering prospects to once the tenant moves out and then allowing them to see the property after the current tenant moves out. Does have some problems with that you can research and figure that out, but that's one way you can do it. The other way is just turn the property faster. Turning means once the tenant leaves, you go there and inspect it, get all the maintenance done as quickly as possible, and to get the new tenant to market it so you can get a new tenant. So how can you make that time to get maintenance done, or how can you get your So how can you actually get your turn time down with maintenance? There's some couple little small tips you can do. First off, just be systematic about it. Have a plan before they leave. Every turn pretty much has the same categories of guests or same timeline that you need. There's certain repairs that just have to be done. There's usually obviously has to be a clean, which should be the last thing. Carpets, if you have carpets, shampoo those carpets. Again, one of the last things you should do. Any repair, drywall, stuff like that should be one of the first things you do. So drywall, paint, any big maintenance items, those should be your first category. You're on it, you're getting those done. Once those are all scheduled, give it a little bit, maybe a day or two in between those. If you run tight, do less than a day, but have your cleaning scheduled already. If anticipated those repairs are done, have your cleaning scheduled and go on that. So you have to be very systematic about it, be thoughtful about it, and then make sure you do it. What we see all the time is the landlord, you self-managing, are doing it, but you're just busy. So you forget to call the painter, and then that adds 2 days. Then once you call the painter, you're like, oh, I forgot to call the drywall guy. So you call the drywall guy, and then you call the plumber, and then finally you try to schedule the cleaning, and they're booked out for a week. So you have to be very systematic and be on top of it. If you can't do it or you can't be very systematic on it, hire someone that can, a GC, which is expensive, or get a property manager, get someone that can help you with it. But typically what we do, we try to be turns within 7 to 10 days, and we've kind of have a systematic process for it. But typically what we see when you're doing your own repairs, it's 2 months usually, 2 to 3 months, which is crazy because 2 months of vacancy destroys your ROI. So remember, be systematic about it. It's okay. Hire someone if you need to get the repair done and to get it done quickly. Because there's lots of things, there's things you need to get done on that. Once you actually get it turned, next thing, you start the process over to find a tenant. Only tip you need to know to market your property. One, you know all the channels. You know to go to Zillow or Postlets, which does it to multiple websites. Everybody knows to do that. Take great pictures. All it is about being responsive. If you're responsive, you'll get tenants. There's thousands of them out there. There's tons of them looking, and no one responds to these tenants. No one does. So just be responsive. They send you an email inquiry. They send you a phone inquiry. Make sure you respond as quickly as possible and be proactive on allowing them to see the property. Maybe use a smart lock where they can actually go see the property anytime they want to, and you maybe just send the lock to them. We call it a self-showing. Huge numbers on that of limiting the time it's your property's on the market is by just using self-showings, which is again another way of being responsive to the tenant. They can see it anytime from 8 to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They don't need to coordinate with you. They don't need to coordinate with an agent to go show them the property. Lots of things done from there. And again, once they see the property, you're responsive enough, you send an email, how was it? Here's a link to apply, do all that crap, all that stuff. I see crap a lot. Do all that stuff that makes it more responsive for them. Again, just be responsive. You'll be 90% better than the competition, and that's all you're trying to do. You're trying to be better than your competition out there, and you're trying to compete with property managers who have all these technologies to be responsive, so make sure you're on top of it. And that's number one key. Even through maintenance, it's still being responsive. So it comes back to responsive. But if shorten that vacancy, let's try to get down to 21 days from total time of turn, find a new tenant and place a new tenant, and you'll have a successful rental investment. If you're stretching that out to 2 to 3 months, you're probably not going to be successful. And so if you're doing that and you're trying your hardest and you still can't figure it out, reach out to us. We'll try to coach you through it. We can help you through it, or we can even take it over and do all that for you. Again, but it's up to you to make that first response and be responsive. But we're always here to help, and so contact us anytime.